All right, good morning, everyone. If there's any props that you know that you like to have for your practice, it doesn't have to be yoga props. It can be pillows or blankets or animals if they're still. But just having what you need nearby so you don't have to get yourself up later and get them. And we're going to start in a seated position today. So take a few moments and set yourself up. You can always sit up on a blanket, sit up on a pillow. Your legs can be crossed if that's comfortable this morning, or you can even just kind of extend them out long. And then feel free to find just kind of a little bit of movement and maybe just allow that movement to help you check in with how your body is feeling this morning. And whenever you feel ready, you can start to settle into some stillness. If it feels okay, you can close your eyes or even just find a softness through your gaze. Remember that even though we're coming into a bit of stillness, if at any point you need to adjust or shift, that is totally fine. Just listen to what your body needs. Sometimes you need that stillness in order for your body to tell you where it wants to pause. And just start to feel the shoulders release away from the ears. Relax the jaw. Softening the muscles of the face. Maybe it feels like your spine is really trying to lengthen and grow. And even as you feel that lengthening through the spine, finding a little bit of engagement through your belly. So think of it as you're putting on your raincoat and then you kind of have to hug it in to zip it up. So just finding that soft engagement through the core. And tune in with your breath. Feel the inhales and the exhales. And taking a few more moments here, just settling in, checking in, and tuning in. One more full, powerful breath here. Inhale and exhale to let it all go. And just start to roll the shoulders back. So it might start really small, just kind of think a little like shrug. And then maybe you start to find just a little bit more surface area, rolling the shoulders back. And then rolling them the other way forward, just getting a little movement into the shoulders. Maybe even breaking up some of that tension in the shoulder blades. And then let your hands come by your side. And you can always shift the legs here, especially if it feels like anything is falling asleep this morning. And then just start to reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Go really tall. And then bring your right hand down to the ground and lean over to the left side. If it feels okay on the left arm, you can keep it up, or you can always kind of tuck it behind the back or even just let it dangle by the side. So focusing on creating a little bit of space into the left side, leaning into the right. So it doesn't matter if you did the opposite, we're gonna get both sides. And then reach the arms all the way back up to the sky and come to the other side. So again, your top arm can stay up overhead if that feels okay, or you can always just let it come by your side. Think space through the whole right side of the body. And then come all the way back up to center. We're going to do that again. Right hand to the ground, stretch and reach through the left side. Maybe feel like you're trying to reach a little bit further. If your hip starts to want to come with you, just take it back a little bit. Come all the way back to center. Coming to the second side, stretch and reach. And then come all the way back to center. Reach the arms really tall and maybe almost feel like you're trying to climb a ladder. Little opposite arm reach. And then release the arms down. Find a roll of the shoulders, rolling back and forth. And then you'll take your arms around behind your back. So it can be an interlace with the hands, or you can even just hold wrists or elbows, or you can even just bring the fingertips to the ground behind you. So your hands don't even have to touch. But I want you to feel like you're trying to open the heart. Maybe that gaze starts to come up. Feel the shoulder blades squeeze together. Arch through the back. And then reach the arms forward. So if they were interlaced, you can uninterlace them. And maybe you interlace them in front of you, or again, you can just reach your fingertips forward and then feel like you're trying to pull the shoulder blades apart. So you're kind of thinking cat-cow with these movements. But we're just doing something different with the arms than we normally do, or we often do. Really reach the arms forward, feel that rounding of the back. And then pull the arms behind you, open the heart, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Your hands don't have to interlace, you can just kind of reach them behind you. And then reach the arms forward around the spine. If you're not liking the movement with the arms, you can always just bring your hands to the tops of the legs. We're gonna do that one more time, actually 2 more times. Reach the arms back, open the heart. And moving at your own pace. And then reach the arms forward, rounding the spine. One more. Reach the arms back, open the heart. And then reach the arms forward, rounding the spine. And then start to bring the arms back to the center. If your legs were crossed, go ahead and extend them out in front of you and maybe do a little wiggle. You can always adjust how you're seated. We're going to stay here for one more moment. Then bring your hands in front of you and then just start to lean forward. So your legs are out in front of you. They might be really close together. They might be a little far apart, but I want you to kind of find a place that feels comfortable to pause. And then maybe you start to flex into the feet. And now that lean, you can be more upright and just have kind of a little shift of the heart forward, or you can really fold into it, or you can kind of be somewhere in the middle. So flexing into the feet, almost feel like you're trying to press the heels towards the front of your space. And then point the toes. Feel like you're trying to press the toes towards the front of your space. Stretching through the fronts of the ankles. And then flex the feet, pressing the heels forward. And point the toes, pressing the toes forward. And you can do that a couple more times, flexing the feet and pointing the toes. And flexing the feet and pointing the toes. Maybe roll out the feet. Here if there's any snap, crackle, pop this morning. Yeah, just adding a little bit of movement. And then just relax the feet and just pause for a few moments in this lean. So again, you can be a little bit more shoulders over the hips, or you can be a little bit more shoulders ahead of the hips. Yogi's choice. Taking a couple of breaths here. One more. You're leaning forward. Just start to bring yourself up. Shake out the legs. And start to make your way into a tabletop position, coming onto your hands and your knees. So if you like a little extra padding underneath the knees, go ahead and slide that in place if it's not already. And as you come to that tabletop position, you can move through a couple of cat-cows. They can be our traditional cat-cows. Of rounding and arching the back. You can also add a little side-to-side movement or even a little rotational movement. Just moving with your breath here. Couple more rounds of breath. And then come into a neutral spine. Curl the toes under and press your hips up and back to a downward dog. So your alternative for down dog is staying in tabletop, especially if that inversion does not feel good in your body. And by inversion, I just mean that your heart is above your head. And when you get to that down dog or wherever you're going to pause, you can pedal out the feet. If you're in tabletop, you can even extend one leg back and switch. Tune in with your breath here. And then release the knees to the ground. And press your hips back to a child's pose. So you can always slide something behind the knees, or even bring something underneath the belly or the forehead. Pause for a moment in your child's pose. Connect with your breath. Just one more breath here. And then pull yourself back to your tabletop. And stay in your table or curl your toes under and come to a downward dog. Take a breath here. You're in downward dog. You'll start to walk your hands and your feet towards each other, landing in a forward fold, probably somewhere towards the middle of your mat. If you were in tabletop, you can just start to bring yourself to a halfway lift. Because if you stayed in tabletop, I don't want you to come into that inversion of that forward fold. I want you to stay a little bit more in that halfway lift. If it feels okay in your body, you can release the head and the neck, but always just being really mindful. I like to keep a little bend into my knees. I like to keep my feet a little wide. That you find a place where you want to pause. And almost feel as if you're trying to press your sit bones, so the bony things right on your bum, up to the sky. So even if you're in that halfway lift, you can feel like you're trying to press your booty up to the sky. Just take one more breath. And nice and slow, start to press in the feet. Bring yourself all the way to stand. And when you get to that standing position, maybe roll the shoulders, maybe rock the head a little bit. Yeah. And then when you feel like you've kind of wiggled out what you need to wiggle out, just come to a little bit of stillness. So really start to feel your feet rooted into the ground. Feel the shoulders release away from the ears. Feel like you're trying to grow a little bit taller, like there's a string at the top of your head, lengthening your whole body long and tall. Just one more breath here. Reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Grow really tall and long. And then start to bend the elbows, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and open the heart. So feel like you're in this cow pose. Maybe the gaze looks up if that feels okay. And then reach the arms all the way back up to the sky. And hinge at the hips, come back forward. So again, that might be the complete forward fold, or you might pause in that halfway lift. But then I want you to keep bending into the knees as much as you can and start to let the hands come to the ground for support. They can even come to something in front of you if you happen to be near a table. And just step your right leg back and let the knee come to the ground. And when you get there, you might adjust a little bit by scooting the left foot forward. Make sure you have some padding underneath the back knee if you need it. And your hands can stay on your hips or even resting on your left thigh. And just start to feel like you're trying to shift the hips forward, but they're trying to shift forward together. So my right hip isn't trying to press more than my left. And because I'm trying to let them work together, I might come to a place where I can't go any further. And anything that's touching the ground, so the back knee, the front foot, I really want to press into the ground, especially if I'm feeling a little more wobbly this morning. If it feels okay, reach the arms all the way up to the sky, just for a couple of breaths. And then bring your hands down to the ground. Curl your back toes under. And again, your hands can be on the floor, they can be on props, they can be on something like a piece of furniture or an animal in front of you. And then you're going to press the back leg away from the floor and step your right foot to meet your left. We're not going to think about it or pause for too long. Right away, you're going to step the left foot back and let the knee come down. Your sides might feel different, so have a little bit of memory loss from that first side. Feel the hips wanting to press forward, moving together. Tune in with your breath, rooting down into anything that's touching the ground, helping with a little bit of stability. Maybe you start to bring the arms up to the sky again, only if that feels okay. One more breath wherever you're at. Bring the hands to the ground. Again, just like we did before, so they can be on the ground, they can be on props, they can be on a piece of furniture in front of you. You'll curl your back toes under, press the back leg away from the floor, and step forward, coming back to that forward fold. Nice and slow, bring yourself all the way up to stand. So as you come up to stand, you can roll the back up, or you can come with a straight back. I know for me this morning, my back is a little achy from my sleep last night, so I like to find a straight back, but that's just my personal preference. And then pause when you get to this standing position. Take a deep breath. Nice deep inhale. Nice deep exhale. One more. Reach the arms all the way up to the sky, grow nice and tall. And then bring the hands around behind the back. So maybe they interlace, maybe they just hold wrists, maybe just like when we were sitting, they're just reaching behind you. So again, trying to find that opening through the heart. And don't forget about your raincoat, still kind of keeping the core engaged. And I know you're starting to bend the back a little bit, but it is possible to kind of keep that subtle engagement through the core. It actually helps protect the lower back, whether you've got low back stuff or not. Keeps everything nice and strong and engaged. Just one more breath. Release the interlace. Roll the shoulders. And then reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Hinge at your hips, come forward. So again, you can pause in that halfway, or you can come all the way down. Bend into your knees so you can bring the hands to the ground and come towards your tabletop. So it really doesn't matter how you get there, just know that we're gonna come to a tabletop. You can take a couple of cat-cows here. These are always optional. And then you're gonna come to lay on your belly. So you can make a pillow with your hands. Maybe rock the hips a little bit. You can keep your head down if you're looking at me. I'm just keeping it lifted so you can hear me. And just take a moment to connect with the floor. Observe if there are parts of the body that are working really hard. And see if you can invite just like 1% less effort. A couple more breaths pausing here. And then begin to prop yourself up onto your forearm. So coming into a Sphinx pose. So your elbows are about underneath your shoulders. Maybe they're a little ahead of your shoulders. And just like we've been doing, feel like the shoulder blades are gently trying to squeeze together. And then come back to zipping up your raincoat. Almost feels like you're trying to lift the belly button away from the floor. It's not actually gonna lift. We're just adding a little bit more core, front core engagement. And you can stay right here or start to bend your right leg and reach your right hand around for the top of the right foot. So you can stay propped up on the left forearm. It's going to be a little bit more of a back bend, or you can always lower yourself down. It's going to change the sensation of the stretch. You can also like add a pillow underneath your head to just give your upper body a little bit of height. And notice if you really try to open up the whole right side to reach for that foot, and see if you can square the right shoulder a little bit more towards the front of your mat. We're not going to stay that long, just one more breath. Gently release the foot, release the hand, and lower all the way down. And start to find your way back to your Sphinx pose. Prop up onto your forearms. And then you'll do it on the other side. So bend your left leg, kick your heel to your butt. You can even stay right here. Maybe that hand, the left hand reaches around for the left foot. So same side hand, same side foot. Can change the upper body. Feel like you're trying to keep that left hip on the ground and keep the left shoulder towards the front of your mat or your body here. Just taking a couple of breaths. One more. Gently release. Lower all the way down. Take a pause. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders and then press yourself back to your tabletop. It's probably going to be the hardest part. If you want a little movement here, go for it. I need a neutralization of the spine. You can stay in your tabletop or curl your toes under and come to a downward dog. And just like we did before, you'll walk your hands and your feet towards each other, or just step your feet to the ground. And right away, we'll come all the way to stand. Take a pause. Check in with the body. Add a little movement. We're going to play with a little bit of balance here. So if you know you like to have some sort of support near you, just make sure you set yourself up. It can be near a wall. It can be near a shelf. It can be near the couch or a chair. And you can just think about just having it there for support if you want it. Bring your hands to your hips and shift the weight into the left foot. And just start to kick your right heel to your butt. So the foot can be flexed. It can be pointed. And really rooting down into your left foot. Feel like that left outer hip is trying to hug into your midline. Don't forget about your raincoat. And you can stay right here, or reach your hand for the foot. So just like when we were laying on our belly a few moments ago, it's that same sensation, though it's gonna feel very different because we're standing, we're balancing. And you can always just kind of keep the foot floating and then maybe reach the hand like you're gonna find the foot, but you're not quite there. You can also hold on to your pants if you happen to have probably loose pants, maybe not so much tight leggings. And then feel like you're just trying to open the front of that heart. So the same thing we've been going for. And maybe you're playing with your balance a little bit more by reaching the left arm up to the sky. These are all options. It's okay to be a little wobbly. Just 5 more hours here. That was a joke, just in case you couldn't hear it. One more breath. Release the hand down, release the foot, release the leg, and pause. There's a movement. You can take it, but sometimes it's also nice to just pause and resist the urge to shake it off and just notice. And we're gonna come to the second side. So shift the weight into the right foot. Take the left heel to your butt. And maybe flex the foot. And you've got the option to reach your hand for the foot or for the pants, or just keep it working on its own and just reach the hand back. Feel like you're opening the chest. So think back for a moment to what you were doing when you were on the ground. Zip up your raincoat. Feel like you're trying to keep everything facing the same direction. Use your breath. One more. Nice and slow. Start to release. Maybe take a pause, observe, notice. When you're ready, you reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Grow nice and tall and long. And then release the arms down. Roll the shoulders. We're gonna make our way onto our back. So you can really get there however you want. I'm gonna make it totally Yogi's choice here. So if you want to come back through a tabletop and do some cat cows or find another down dog, go for it. So the next few moments are 100% yours. Whole class is really 100% yours. You're always welcome to just take a nap and hear me talk if you want. No one's ever taken me up on it, but it's there. And eventually making your way to your back. Now, we're not coming to Shavasana yet, but we will eventually. So if you know you like to have props, make sure it's just within hand's reach so you don't have to get yourself back up. And when you do arrive on your back, take the first few moments that you're there for whatever your body is craving. So really not thinking too hard about it, like instinctively, what does your body want to do? Maybe the knees want to hug in, maybe you just want to stretch it long. And then after you've kind of settled onto your back, Just start to invite a little bit of stillness in. Take a few moments here to reconnect to your breath. And start to place the soles of the feet onto the ground. So the knees are pointing up to the sky. And cross your right ankle on top of your left knee. So think figure four. Now, as always, you can keep your left foot on the floor and keep your figure four just like this, or you can start to hug the left knee into the chest. Now, if you always hug the knee in, or if you always leave the foot on the floor, maybe play. Maybe switch it today. See how it feels. Come there first. Take a few rounds of breath. And then if you want to shift, shift. If you're hugging the figure four in, try to relax the shoulders and the jaw. And I know you're using some effort, but see if you can release the grip just a little bit so it's not like a death grip hugging that leg in. Find a place where you can stay connected to your breath. Just a couple more breaths here. If you're holding on to the left leg, nice and slow, start to release it. Uncross the right leg. And right away, come to the second side. Cross your left ankle on top of your right knee. You can stay right here or hug your right knee into your chest. Just because you took something on one side doesn't mean that your body wants the same thing on the second side. So just being mindful of that. Softening your jaw. A couple more rounds of breath here. You're holding on to the right leg, gently release. And cross the legs. Hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a nice hug, maybe a little rock. And let the knees drop over to the right. I'm trying to let the shoulders stay on the ground. Just coming into a spinal twist. And start to bring the knees all the way back to the middle. And let them go to the other side. If there's anything you want to do between sides, go for it. Couple more breaths here. Bring the knees all the way back to the center. Maybe hug the knees in. If you want, you can find a happy baby, reaching for the tops of the feet. You can also just reach behind the knees, thinking wide with the knees. Just any final movements that your body is craving this morning. Any wiggles, any rotations, any rocking, yeah. And once again, as always, there's absolutely no rush, but you'll start to find your way into your final Shavasana. Allowing the legs to fall out in front of you. Arms come by your side. Yeah. Adding any props here. So anything you want underneath the legs. And if being on your back for an extended period of time is not comfortable for you, come onto your side into a fetal position. And then you can also throw your legs up on a couch or a chair or a wall. Just finding a place where your body can soften or you can pause. And just really allowing your body to sit in gratitude for your practice this morning. Shavasana. Slowly starting to bring some awareness back into this space. And bringing some awareness back into your body. Feeling your next breath move in and out. Use starting to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Rolling out wrists and ankles. And rocking your head from side to side. And stretch your arms up overhead. Take a full body stretch. Making your way onto your side if you're not already there. And in your own time, in your own way, starting to bring yourself up into a comfortable seat and keeping the focus inside. Bringing the hands to your heart center, gently bow your head. Thank yourself for making it to your mat today, for your practice, your energy, your breath, and most importantly, for yourself. Namaste.